think it means.
Well, it's not a little piece of candy.
Oh, but it's so good.
It is good. It's really delicious. By the way, we're live, and there are people out there wanting to know what in the heck we're doing. What you see right now on the screen is a Rolo Phase 6 special event. So JodoCast is first. What's happening? Patrons are jumping on board. Very cool. So what's Rolo?
What is Rolo?
What is Rolo? It's a
Is
delicious...
it rollover? Is it great candy?
It's a delicious candy.
That's exactly what it is.
So this is Sure Shot, by the way. This is Your Man Warrior. This is Sure Shot. Sure Shot is a friend of mine, but he is also a free-to-play gamer that plays this game. And so he comes from a completely free-to-play perspective. And anytime there's new information in the game, it's like everybody just reads off of the forum post. Kind of boring. I figured I would bring in Sure Shot to kind of analyze, go over it, get a free-to-play perspective. So pretty cool.
There's Show the frustrated perspective.
Show the frustrated perspective. There's not going to be a ton of dialogue on this live stream because I want to try and keep this live stream a little shorter. But this, what you see right here, is the video that will be coming out later today. So I'm sorry to flood my main channel with 2 badass videos, but it's happening today. So make sure you go and watch the Phase 6 special Rolo event. The other thing is I have another channel. Did you know that?
I got a notification because I get some notifications occasionally that pop up from being subscribed to your channel, but that one did confuse me a little bit. So I guess I'm curious as to why you'd go from 1 channel to 2 channels.
Very good. So I created a sub-channel a couple days ago. The sub-channel is going to be specifically just for roster reviews. This is going to allow for anybody who loves roster reviews. And by the way, I have about 5,000 to 8,000 people approximately that love the roster reviews. If you're one of those 5,000 to 8,000 people, you need to go to that channel and subscribe to that sub channel, because in about 2 weeks, I have about 6 more roster reviews that are going to launch on my main channel, and then after that, it's going to go to they're going to be launched on my sub channel. So you've got a couple of weeks, about 12 days or so, before they start to hit my sub channel. So if these are important to you, if you like them, if you love the nuggets of information that I provide, you have to go to that channel. Now you're probably wondering, how do you get to that channel?
How do you get to that channel?
How do you get to that channel? So in the below in the description, you're going to find a link to the next channel. You got to make sure you go in, click on subscribe so you can get those roster reviews. Again, in 2 weeks, you will no longer see roster reviews on this channel. So again, if that's important, you got to go to the new channel, subscribe. And I have a video there. You're welcome to watch it. It is an older video, but it's a goodie. So I figured I would put on one of my most popular videos ever, so people would have something to click on and watch for a minute or two to kind of refresh themselves with what I'm about. But that's not why we're here. We're actually not here about my sub channel. We're not even here about that Rolo event, which is coming out on a video later today. What are we here for? Do you know?
I think we're getting ready to see something new and exciting. An announcement, if you will.
Yeah. Dudes, we have 2 new characters coming in the game that we know of, and we have 2 new ships coming in the game that we know of. This is freaking excited. So from the order of creation right here on the top, what you're seeing is we have the Kylo Ren's ship, and it's called the TIE Silencer, because he silences his opponent. Very cool. And of course, we have Kylo Ren, who's piloting it kind of next door to him, right? Yep. And so those are 2 that we're going to go over last. The first we're going to go over is the new Special Forces agent. Pretty awesome. He's a First Order TIE Fighter, but he's a First Order Special Forces TIE Fighter, and then his TIE Fighter. This is the first TIE Fighter that is going to have a amazing AoE. We'll get into all of that. We're going to go over the Special Forces unit first, but do you notice anything about the Special Forces character? Anything in his armor, or maybe on his face that you notice that...
Maybe a specific color marking on his helmet? I mean, other than the fact that his name is just kind of a mouthful. First Order Special Forces TIE Pilot.
Yeah, what in the
There's
heck?
going to be an acronym for that at some point, I'm sure. If Swagaga guy wasn't confusing enough already, we got another one for you.
Yeah, pretty crazy, right? So we want to go into those characters and their ships, and we want to go over their abilities. Let's go ahead and get into that. So the first character that we're going to go over, like I mentioned, was the First Order Special Forces TIE Pilot. And there we have it. Something's wrong with me. By the way, we had Rex brownies before we started.
Oh, whoops.
Whoops. All right, so we want to talk about this. It's today. The embargo lift is right now, so we're going to talk about it. The First Order Special Forces TIE Pilot. He has 3 abilities, which is common for these characters. He basically looks like every other TIE fighter, except for, of course, he's going to be First Order. Of course, Dark Side. Thank you, Lord. And he's an attacker, which is not uncommon. He's got,
and he's just cool looking.
Yeah, he's got 3 abilities. He's got a ship, which we're going to go over next, so pretty cool. Let's go ahead and go into his basic. So its basic is called reciprocation. Love that word. And it says he's a subversive First Order attacker who buffs his allies and disrupts the enemy. So let's see how he's going to buff his ally and how he's going to disrupt the enemy. Also note that they tend to bring in some abilities from the character into the ship. So if the ship stuns, the character stuns. If the ship's, if the character's heavy hitting, the ship tends to be a heavy hitter. So the final text for this ability is going to say it deals physical damage to a target enemy and inflict defense down for 2 turns. If the target had defense down, he'll gain advantage for 2 turns. So this plays right into the other First Order characters because the other First Order characters all have that advantage. What is advantage? Do you know? You've only been playing for about 6 months, so...
Right. Nope, actually I wouldn't know at this point what that is.
Awesome.
Please tell me.
Yeah, so advantage is just a little green buff that goes over their head, and the next time they attack, they're guaranteed a critical hit.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and he gets it for 2 turns because he will have that ability the first turn, and he'll have that ability a second turn. Obviously, if it gets dispelled or whatever, it's gone. But seems pretty cool when you're looking at the the ability that you're checking out here. 11,000 on a crit. I mean, it doesn't look super powerful. I mean, it's not like the other TIE fighter who hits for way more. So I'm not sure I'm super overwhelmed with the basic, but there's hope, there's promise, right? What is your thought on that basic?
There's always rework, really at that point, if they don't like the way it looked as initial character release and everything, and people give their feedback, obviously they'll go back and go, hey, guess what? New event, we're going to rework everybody. But got to feel them out for a while.
Now, Captain Phasma, I think you're just starting to kind of gear her up and whatnot. And
again, mostly light side, still working on the dark side stuff, because that's where I lean in the universe anyways, but that's just kind of how my characters have developed up to this point.
Now, on this shot, he shoots... and he puts defense down, and then because of Phasma's leadership, he ends up calling an assist, and she calls the assist, and defense is now down. So her hit is going to be better. It's going to be for more, and she has advantage, so it's a guaranteed crit. So when he's in a First Order team, this makes a lot of sense because he's going to guarantee that assist does way more than it's supposed to do. So in essence, he's bringing in way more damage than just the basic that he's bringing in. But he is going to need potency when you're modding him, right? Because he has defense down, which is a debuff. So you're going to want to, have that. Let's go ahead and look at Drum Fire. This is pretty cool. This is his first special. And it's an AoE, pretty dope. And it says it's going to deal special damage to all enemies and inflict defense down. So here he is. He's going crazy with this defense down for 2 turns. And on each critically hit enemy, which you're going to have critical chance is what I'm seeing now. You're going to want to mod him for critical chance on each critically hit enemy. So he's going to be doing defense down on his basic and on the AoE. Again, you'll need potency and you'll want crit chance. It also says First Order allies gain speed up for 2 turns. So this AoE does some damage. I'm looking at the damage. It doesn't look huge.
I'm seeing the screen shake around quite a bit, but I'm not really seeing a whole lot of big numbers that make me go, ooh.
So, I mean, it's cool. After the AoE, there's a bunch of defense down, which means the opponent is going to be easier to kill. Obviously, he can call an assist with this. He's gaining life because he has a great health steal, which is excellent to see that. It's not too bad at all. But the speed up, I think the speed up that they get, if you look, you can see the speed up that's being added over their head. That's cool because it speeds your team up. And of course, the advantage and the calls to assist with First Order. This is a really great addition to the team. The second
it seems
special,
like with Dark Side, you don't have a whole lot of healers. So I guess if you have health steal and you can bring protection up, that's kind of their way of counterbalancing a little bit, I guess, compared to all the Jedi that you have out there that are constantly healing everybody.
Right. And then for the second special, I don't see the GIF, which is all we get is the GIF. It says it deals special damage to a target enemy and will call another ally to assist. So he has a call to assist, kind of like Biggs. So that's really cool. The First Order has that now. And I know that she already causes that potential call to assist. So with that, you could have 3 people potentially attacking, which is really cool. That's kind of like, you know, Biggs's ability when Wedge is there, but without Wedge being needed. You know, this one just, as long as he's in a first order team and, you know, Captain Phasma is the leader, you're going to get multiple attacks, which is really cool.
If he's here, they all benefit.
Yeah. What's really cool is if this target ally is first order, and again, you would want to run him in a first order team. I think that's the only way you'd want to run this character. They gain advantage for 2 turns, which they're always getting advantage, which is awesome. And it stuns the target for 1 turn. So you're going to call in multiple attacks, 2 or 3, and you're going to stun that target. So how important is stun to you?
Oh, it's great to quiet down those pesky taunters. You know, if you got another tune that you're going after at that point, you want to get the leader out of the way because of what they do to buff the team. It's great to be able to quiet that guy down if you're not able to just knock him right out of the way.
Yeah. So overall impressions initially on this this character. What are your thoughts? A good addition to the first order, or someone you're going to ignore? What do you think?
For being free to play, I guess the biggest question in my mind is whether or not he's going to be farmable. When is he going to show up, and when can I actually get him without having to pay for a pack in order to get him, and what he's going to have synergy-wise to a team that I already have going. At this point, for me personally, I'm not going to be using him for a while, but that's one of the first questions that comes up in my mind is he going to be viable to my roster right now, and when can I actually start getting him without having to put out the money?
So in the email that had the embargo information, we were told that these are going to be marquee events very soon. So we don't know the time. I can't release anything like that. I don't know the exact, but we do know that it is going to be a marquee event. Pretty exciting. The marquee events are fun. You can bring in anybody in a marquee event. So you can bring your very best squad, guaranteeing that you get the character.
You're most comfortable with,
Yeah, traditionally marquee events unlock them at like 2 stars. And then you could buy a pack if you wanted to, don't have to, which gets them to like a 3rd star. And then after 6 weeks of cadence of being pay to play, they go into the chromiums and the shipments, and that's still kind of pay to play. And then in 6 weeks after that, which is approximately 3 months later from now, so we're talking about December, January, February. So at the beginning of February, they'll go free to play. In theory, that's what's supposed to happen. The regular cadence will kick in, and you'll be able to get this character in about 3 months. So you could start to casually gear this character because Territory Battles Darkside is coming out in a few months. So I wouldn't ignore these characters. The other thing is the red on the face. What does that remind you of?
Evil, dark side.
Inferno Squad?
Inferno Squad.
Okay, I haven't been told anything about Inferno Squad or anything, so I have no idea, but I have a feeling we're going to see a lot more dark side characters, and I think we're going to see some more Inferno Squad. There's a really good possibility of that because of the markings on his face and the first order nature of these characters. So pretty cool. So do you want to see his ship?
Yes.
Okay.
He looks cool enough. Let's see what the ship looks like now.
Yep.
What can it do?
Boom! First Order Special Forces TIE Fighter.
Another mouthful.
Yeah, and basically, of course, it's a First Order ship, which this is now our 2nd First Order ship. Kylo Ren, masked, is the original ship that was in the game, and it just became free to play, farmable just recently. A lot of people are just now getting it up. So it's a superior, that's a great word, first order attacker that has multiple offensive capabilities and inflicts multiple debuffs. So it sounds like it's going to fit right in with the other TIE fighters that there are. Let's go ahead and check it out. So the basic, this is pretty cool. The basic is called LS 9.6 laser cannons. And in the final text, it's going to say it deals physical damage to a target enemy. Nothing new there. And 35k is okay. I mean, I have other first order that hits for 60 to 100,000, so I'm not super impressed yet with this damage.
Well, maybe there's more synergy there. Maybe it could be something that helps out the other rest of people in your team.
Yep, we haven't even gotten into it yet. So if this attack scores a crit, and it does, it will inflict target lock. Again, you're definitely going to want any ship that gives you the critical chance synergy, because if you can get higher critical chance, such as the Chimera, it's going to almost assuredly give you the crit, which if you get the crit, you get the target lock. So on his basic, he can target lock, especially if you're running him under the Chimera. That's pretty scary at how popular that this ship is probably going to be. And if you have the ship, you have to have
The pilot.
The pilot. We were just talking about that last night. He's gearing up couple of his ships, and he's like, the stupid pilots aren't good enough to even put them in yet. The ships are, but the pilots aren't.
Well, because inevitably you sit there and focus on the ship. You got something, you got gear going for it. You got ability mass for it, and you can sit there and start building it up. You inevitably always forget about the pilot because he's not a toon or a character that you use in your arena team or your Galactic War team. So it's always kind of left to the sidelines, and it's always an afterthought. And you're always going, oh, yep, I got to get back to them.
Yeah, pretty cool. So, yeah, I like this. I think, the inflicting target lock on his thing. Plus, it says this attack has a plus 10% critical chance. So he's buffing his own crit chance already right out the gate. And the higher the pilot goes, the higher the crit chance of the ship goes, because the pilot directly influences the ship's statistics. And then, of course, if you run them under a capital ship, that's going to increase critical chance. Then you're going to get that as well. Let's go ahead and look at
a little bit of that in case you don't have those extra critical chance mods just lying around because, got all these extra just sitting in surplus.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and look at his first special. It's called Double Offensive. This is pretty cool. It says it will deal physical damage to all enemies. So he's doing like a strafing run by himself. It's pretty dope, actually. I'm loving this shot, dude. Look at this. Wow. Man, I mean, 18...
Nice sweeping attack.
Yeah, 18K a ship isn't huge, but 18K for,
nice.
That many ships is pretty cool. And AoEs are just really cool. And there's not a ton of AoEs in the game that people use. So any of them you can get. It's pretty cool. What's really cool is it says that it's going to, after it deals that damage, it has a 35% chance to remove 20% turn meter. So this is just going to further slow the opponents down, which is super important. It also, if it has target lock, and man, if you're running this in a target lock team, they're going to be target locked. If they're target locked, it would remove turn meter. The turn meter would be doubled, and it can't be resisted, which means obviously the turn meter removal of 35% is resistible if they have high enough tenacity. So if you're going against an endurance team, this may not be as effective because of the tenacity and them running Rex brownies. But if they're, and I wish the GIF changers, I wish the GIF that they showed us had some target locked characters so you could see the target lock characters getting more turn meter reduction. But you can see that some of these characters lose turn meter. In fact, like one dies, 3 lose turn meter. And then the other one, nothing happens because they're supposed to gain that turn meter for the next round. So anyway, pretty cool. I think that the basic, target locking on a crit and getting a crit increased boost. Now we're doing an AoE, pretty cool. There's now another second special ability. This is the crew ability. What that means is this is the ability that's on the top left that the crew guy actually brings into the ship that the ship wouldn't have without him. So this is going to be cool, something similar to what he brings. And he brings in defense down a lot on his actual character. So the final text will read, deal special damage to a target enemy. So you saw he did special damage, 40,000 special damage, and unfortunately the ship deflects the debuff. So I wish, again, it was a better GIF, but that's okay. It says it will, after it deals that damage, inflict ability block for 1 turn and gain 20% turn meter. So hits them, ability blocks them, and then gets faster. Also, it says additionally call a random ally to assist. So you can see, he shoots and then Kylo's ship shoots. So he deflects and then Kylo at least gets that hit in. So he's calling an assist, which is what he does, what his character actually does in the game. So his character is able to call an assist on his second special, and on this second special, he's able to call an assist. Dude, any ship that can call an assist, especially in a target lock team, is sick. I'm excited.
He's like the new buddy character. He just likes to call his buddies in to help out. Hey, you want to shoot? Let's all shoot together.
Yeah, right. And then he also grants them advantage for 2 turns, and this attack ignores protection. So if you look, it does damage the protection, but it actually takes out the health. It can ignore protection. It didn't ignore protection in this example, but it is stating it should. It should. Again, the gifts are what they are. I'm just glad we have some gifts to show you the characters. So if he's first order, you grant them advantage. So this is kind of giving you an encouragement to run other first order characters and ships and things like that.
Help you diversify your farm team a little bit.
So what are your thoughts on this ship?
Well, yet again, another TIE fighter, so it's cool looking. It's always going to be about damage, but being able to call assist and debuffs on top of that with being able to go against health and not just protection, that means that there's more possibilities with other ships you can add to that to create a better synergy. So just gives you more options.
Yeah, pretty cool. I don't know if you know this or not, but most of the ship abilities that they have regenerate protection, not health. So, all of the characters that do kind of regeneration type things, with ships, they launched it to just basically worry about the protection. Right. Kind of like in the regular characters, they worried more about health regeneration early on. That's what healers were for, was the health regeneration. And when they brought ships out almost a year ago, it was all about the protection regeneration, and that's it. So this guy's going to ignore that protection regeneration. It doesn't matter. So I think this is really cool because it's definitely a little more advantageous than people might realize at first glance. So love the special forces. To find all that, yeah. Love the special forces. I think if you've got a first order team, you should do both. I think if you've got a target lock team, you should do the ship. The issue is the ship is bad ass, and the character is going to be necessary. So I am going to go ahead and do a 2-star and just try to get him up to gear 10, gear 11 over the next month and try to integrate him in slowly into my ships. I think that he would be very worthwhile in the ships. Are you ready for the next character?
Yes, indeed.
Who is it?
I don't know. I think we're on a theme here, so I'm thinking that we might be going a little bit more first order still.
Bam! Kylo Ren, but Kylo Ren with a cape, and he's unmasked. That's pretty awesome.
More Adam Driver, less Darth Vader.
Yeah. Really cool. He's got, it looks like 5 abilities. His leadership and unique are both going to be Zetas. Ooh. So, I mean, a double Zeta is not as bad as a triple Zeta, but he looks pretty amazing.
Still pain in the butt to get, but probably well worth it.
Now, he is a tank. And I would say, after having read his initial stuff, he'll be the best first order tank in the game. So I would probably not worry about the first order stormtrooper, because I think he's going to replace that slot. But I also think he'll be the leader. So pretty interesting. Let's see. So he's a first order. He's a tank and a leader. Pretty cool. It says a tough first order tank with a powerful stun. Yes, remember stun. His specialty is stunning. So we're going to see that in him and his ship and everything. Pretty awesome. Let's get into his basics. We got a lot of stuff.
Is that stun going to be something that should show up in his basic initially, or is that something you have to gear up to make it happen more often?
Well, the higher you go on the ability, the more it unlocks of that ability. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I haven't seen his step-by-step 8-level progression on his basic, but I'm pretty sure the stun will come.
Seems like a lot of tunes have it, but you have to build their abilities up before it actually starts to become viable and actually happen enough that you can rely on it, as opposed to, oh, look, it did it once in a great blue moon. Yeah. Now,
aggressive strike at first glance doesn't look to be too impressive. I mean, he does crit, and he probably will inside of a first order team, but it does like a crit for 5k. That's not that good. You got to remember, this is a GIF. It's just they're using things. And remember, some of this stuff could potentially change. This is all just, first look type stuff. So he stuns.
Keep an open mind.
Yep, he stuns this character, but the character was already stunned, so you really don't get to see that. It says he deals physical damage and inflicts tenacity down for 2 turns. So you can see, whack, he tenacity downs them. If they were already debuffed and it's Kylo Ren's turn, he gains taunt for 1 turn. So you can see he doesn't have taunt. He puts tenacity down and then he gets taunt. This is taunting on his basic. First tank to ever have taunting on their basic, and tenacity down really negates any possibility of having any kind of valuable tenacity on your character. So really is going to pave the way for applying all the debuffs that you want to do. So pretty cool. I mean, again, this is first look, but inflicting tenacity down is pretty cool. His first special is the stun that we were talking about. It's going to dispel all buffs on a character, which the character doesn't have any buffs in this example, but he just kind of waves his hand, whop, just like in the movie, and he stuns the character. So that's a pretty cool thing. Plus, it's a stun for 2 turns, not 1 turn. So 2 turns. That's good to note. He also recovers 10% health and then gains taunt. Okay, now, basic. He taunts pretty much every turn. First special, he stuns and taunts every time he uses it. This is crazy. And a cooldown of 3. So every 3rd turn, he is getting to taunt. And this taunt is for 1 turn. Plus his basic is going to inflict tenacity down and then gain taunt. Now, remember, the taunt on his basic, they have to be debuffed for him to get that taunt. If they're not debuffed, they don't get that taunt. So you want to make sure that you're running a heavy taunting team or debuff team.
This is sounding reminiscent of another tune, and it's kind of bringing up something that I think will be interesting for people going up against a team with Kylo unmasked in it. Is kind of reminiscent of Count Dooku. You know, obviously he has all those counters, and he'll sit there as soon as you hit him, or just kind of even nudge him or throw an AOE out there. Suddenly he's just hitting you 4 or 5 times and being really annoying. Now you got Kylo to throw in the mix here. He's going to taunt every time he comes at you with the basics. So I see going up against this guy is becoming a frustration for a lot of people too. So I probably would drive more people to want to have him on top of their
constant
roster.
Taunt and constant stun, and tanky as hell, and does a decent amount of damage. Yeah, I could see him throwing a wrench in anyone's. And you know what? The First Order had a great tank, and people might decide to run 2 tanks. Might decide to run him and First Order, because First Order Stormtrooper has that counter, you know, that countering capability. And man, could you imagine a double tank First Order team? Oh my gosh, that would be crazy.
Pretty great to have, pretty frustrating to go against.
Yeah, that would be pretty exciting. And I like the stun. I really do. I think that's cool. Just wave and... they're stunned. Yeah. He also recovers health when he does this, so he's not actually inflicting any damage, but he gets health steal. This is the first time I'm aware of that an individual inflicts a debuff and gains health off of just inflicting a debuff. Maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, quote whatever character it is, but I don't know of any other character.
The only character that comes up that could be a possibility is Nihilus, but...
Well, but
his health steal ability is only specific on his AoE.
Yeah, but it's debuff. It's just a debuff, and he then gains 10% health. I'm not sure. There might be a character, but I can't remember. So that's pretty cool, because you can see he gains quite a bit of health off of that. So we'll go into his second special. This is now his third ability, or his second special, and the animation is amazing. I mean, look at that whap. I mean, he hits the ground. It's just kind of like reminiscent of Darth Sidious in the game for sure.
Just causing a wake of destruction on his way to you.
Yep. And this will deal physical damage to a target enemy. And then again, he's going to recover health equal to the amount of damage dealt. So he does, 11K, he gains 11,000 health.
Pretty awesome.
Nuts, right? And if the target is stunned, which in this example, the target is stunned. It says if the target is stunned, it will deal double damage. Now, it has a cooldown of 3, and I'm not uber impressed with the damage. It's not a crit, and it's 10,000. The character was already stunned, which means this attack, probably without a crit, does about 5,000 damage. And a crit's probably doing, roughly around 10,000. So 5,000, I mean,
kind
again,
of a favorite number of theirs.
Yeah, it's not a huge attack. Neither this basic or this second special do I see like large numbers out of damage. But again, remember,
not initially.
He's a tank. And think about if he crits. It's
not exactly his purpose.
Yeah, and think about if he crits. And think about when he crits and they're stunned, because you got him on a stunning team, he's going to do double damage, potentially 20k. That's a lot. That would be a lot of damage for an actual tank. It's reminiscent almost of Baze, Malbus, because Baze has a second special that can debuff and can do quite a bit of damage, 15 to 20k itself. So kind of reminiscent of a high damage dealing tank. But he is, in fact, a tank, so remember that. He's not an attacker like a lot of people think that he was going to be.
One of the qualities I enjoy in my base.
Yeah. So he has a couple other abilities. Both of these are going to be Zetas. His leadership and his unique. His leadership is called Merciless Pursuit, and the final text for the Zeta, you're going to have the Zeta for this, this is his leadership ability. All First Orders, all of them, have 40% critical damage.
Ooh,
so
that's a big one.
What's the highest critical damage you can mod to?
Is it 31.4%, something like that?
36%,
36?
But added on
that's
top
what
of
I have right now.
Another 36% bonus that you can get from a mod bonus, and 150% base that everybody gets. So you're at 216% critical damage is the highest you can get your critical damage. Approximately basically 200%, but 216. He gives another 40% on top of that. So they're at 256 potentially if modded correctly. 256 critical damage. And what do you need for Arena?
I think you need a little bit of damage, like a lot of damage, critical-wise.
And when you get to the highest end servers, what's it always about? It's always about
speed.
Speed. 30%, or plus 30 speed, not 30%, just 30 speed. 30 speed is crazy. That's excellent. That is amazing as a leader, bringing in that speed bonus. It says when a First Order ally scores a crit, which we know is basically always going to happen because of the advantage cycle that runs as well as all of this, they're going to gain 20% turn meter. So he gives them 30 speed And they're going to be getting 20% turn meter on nearly every turn. This is going to be a lightning fast team. I'm excited about this. When First Order allies gain a status effect, and of course they're gaining tons of status effects, they're going to recover health and protection.
Double whammy.
Health and protection. 5% health and protection. So he's giving them turn meter, he's giving them health and protection, he's giving them speed, he's giving them critical damage. I think this is the single best leadership ability in the game if you have the right team composed. This is crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Working together.
And I'm excited because I have the First Order TIE pilot, and I love him. He's one of my favorite hitters. You know, he could double tap and on his basic, and of course he had a great special. And I haven't got to use him in Arena in a long time. So really,
and he's so small on my roster, I never really use him unless he's a pilot. So it's kind of one of the only reasons why I have him.
Yeah, really excited to finally get to kind of pull him back and dust him off and use this. I mean, this is really crazy. Merciless Pursuit is absolutely nuts. And the last is a unique. It's called Scarred, which is really cool. I think that I love how they play onto the characters. It's a Zeta ability, and it says when Kylo takes damage, he's going to recover 8% health, and a random ally who doesn't have it will gain advantage for 2 turns. This is just a unique. So every time he's a tank, every time he's hit, he gains health, and somebody else gets advantage. He gains health, somebody else takes advantage. He gains health, somebody else gets advantage because he's a tank and he takes damage. This allows for you to replace Captain Phasma as the leader, because with her leadership ability, you were able to give a bunch of allies, advantage and stuff. So if you're wanting to pull Captain Phasma out of the team potentially, because maybe you're wanting to use some of these newer characters, you're going to be able to do that because his leadership is actually better than her leadership ability. And when he takes damage, he gains health, which, think about it, once the protection's gone, this health's going to be nuts. I think people should mod him straight health. Like, he's going to have enough crit chance, and it really doesn't matter if he crits anyway. I would go straight health, maximize these health gains that he gets, because he gets a ton of health gain. It would be an annoying tank that constantly gaining health when you're hitting him, and he's constantly gaining health when he's hitting you. I mean, he's just gaining health all the time, and he's constantly taunting. Very disruptive. Very disruptive.
And a great use for all your leftover health mods that you probably have an extra stack of sitting around.
Yeah, and health mods are easy to farm, right? So whenever he takes damage, he gets health, and the First Order gets advantage for 2 turns. Also, Kylo, and this is obviously on the Zeta, has a 50% counter chance. A tank with a countering capability, kind of like Baze or Sunfac or any of those. So pretty cool. And it's doubled while he has taunt. So he's going to have taunt all the time. He's 100% counter. 100% counter. So you hit him,
just pulling out all the
he hits back. Everybody gets advantage. Someone's getting advantage. Someone's getting advantage. He's gaining health. You're hitting him. He hits back. He's gaining health. They're getting advantage. He's countering when you're hitting him. When he's hitting you, he's stunning you on his special turn meter addition plus 30 speed. This is absolutely crazy. I think everybody wanted a First Order team to become viable. There you go, dudes. This is a completely arena viable team.
This is your Rockstar.
This is your Rockstar Darkside team that can take on CLS. If you're looking for a CLS competition, this is going to be it. Again, all marquee events from what we understand. So that means you're going to have them at 2 stars, and you'll be able to buy them to 3 stars, and then you'll have to either get packs or wait 3 months.
Extra patience for us free-to-play guys.
Yeah, and that's what I'm going off of. All the latest information I have. If things change, don't skewer me. I'm just the messenger. That's just what I know as to be the case. Also, it says when Kylo takes reduced damage, Kylo takes reduced damage from percent health damage effects and gains taunt for 1 turn at the start of each encounter. So anytime somebody hits him with a burn, R2-D2, right? Everybody's using R2-D2. He's going to have just what the other Kylo Ren had. Remember the other Kylo Ren, when you put damage over time or burn or any of those things, it compresses the amount of damage he takes. Like 90% of the damage isn't even applied. He takes very little damage, and you got to stun him and just freaking whack away at him and try and kill him. He has the same ability in this character as well, so it maintains the coolness of the old Kylo in this one. And when you do any damage over time, any burn from R2-D2, which you can't control on defense AI, he's going to gain that taunt. So you're going to trigger his taunt by using an R2-D2, which sucks. And the burn's not going to do the 15% damage on him at all. It's just going to give him taunt, and it's going to put him in a mode where all the damage is compressed significantly to where he takes almost no damage. This is terrible if you're trying to kill him because he's constantly taunting. This is really terrible. And when he's taunting, he's countering.
Again, reminiscent of Dookie, I think.
I know, man. This is crazy. So super exciting.
Keep on trying if you want. He'll keep on coming back with more.
We've gone over the first pilot and his ship. We've gone over Kylo unmasked. And now it's time for his ship. Are you ready?
I think I might be.
This is called
see what else, what are awesome things he's got to go along with this, and what he's going to add to this whole
silencer. That's right, silencer. For those of you that misread that, the TIE silencer.
Not a suppressor, but a silencer.
Not a suppressor. Yeah, that would be a good one though. A TIE suppressor, that would have been awesome. TIE silencer. It's dark side, first order, and it's an attacker ship. Man, it looks awesome.
And it just looks cool. One of the cooler ones.
Yeah.
Other than that, what's it? Which TIE fighter is that of Rebels? Rebels cartoon is the one that's got the 3 different wings on it. That's probably the coolest looking one in my opinion. Like their experimental one that they're working with. But this one sits right next to it in my opinion for cool look.
Yeah. Oh, I love the Rebels show. I know a lot of people are like, it's a kid's show. I'm like, no. Or it's anybody who enjoys Star Wars.
Color me a kid.
Yeah, color me a kid, I suppose. So anyway, this is a superior, and again they use the word superior, that's funny. Yeah. First order attacker with gains unlimited speed and deals massive damage. How does it gain unlimited speed? This is going to be insane. I'm excited. I love ships. I got ships inside of me. I love ships. Like people are always saying, oh, I hate ships. I do just what I minimum. You're free to play, and where are you at in arena? In ships?
In Ships Arena, yeah. I'm actually sitting still around, if I don't pay attention, I'll go up to 150, but otherwise I've been down as far as 101 at one point. Haven't broke the 100 mark yet, but that's something that I could put more focus and time into, and I could even go above that. So I can see why people are saying that they're just kind of hit and miss with ships, because really that's secondary to me in a lot of ways, and I could put more effort into, but it's for whatever reason what I've been churning out and putting out, it's actually been doing pretty good for the ranking there.
Yeah, so this is exciting because for me, I love ships. It's just one more first order ship. We will now have 3, count them, 3 first order ships, so pretty exciting. We're going to go ahead and go into this. Obviously the crew, oh by the way, these 2 ships only have 1 pilot.
Oh.
So anytime there's a ship where it has 2 pilots or 3 pilots, it makes it harder, right? Because it just doubles and triples the amount of characters you have to gear up.
The extra gear, the extra shards.
Yeah, exactly. This is one character that you have to gear up, just like the other ship. It's 1 character to gear up. I love when they do that. I really hate...
it's a character worth gearing up at that point, too. I mean, obviously, the other TIE pilots are good, but, again, secondary characters that kind of fall into the background a bit.
Yep. So it says that it deals unlimited speed. It gets unlimited speed. So the final text on his basic, he has 3 abilities, by the way. The first one says it deals physical damage to a target enemy and stuns them for 1 turn if they have more than 50% turn meter. Otherwise, he'll gain advantage. So this one had more than 50% turn meter. Boba Fett did, and so it stunned him. If it wouldn't have stunned him, he would have got advantage, giving himself a guaranteed crit. You can see his crit's not that much. His damage isn't like superior. I wouldn't say this is one of those massive damage dealing ships, but a stun, any kind of a stun that you can bring into your team is excellent.
Just from a practical standpoint too, I guess I'm kind of curious as to what the reasoning is behind why a ship would have to barrel roll while it shoots. I kind of feel like that would bring up a question of accuracy.
Cool.
I mean, it's cool, but like I said, just from a practical standpoint, I mean, is Kylo pretty good? Strong stomach. Is he puking in there every time he wants to try and use that basic?
Yeah, I don't know. Let's look at that barrel roll. Let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's probably like, I'm not much of a pilot myself, but I think I'd be painting the inside of that cockpit.
Yeah, I'd be painting it too. So overwhelming advantage is his second ability, but his first special, because the first is his basic and this is his first special, but it's his second ability, the middle ability. Kind of cool artwork, by the way. I think that's pretty cool. And it's really interesting. Really interesting. It says it will deal physical damage to a target enemy, and if the TIE silencer had advantage, which it didn't, by the way. I wish it would have had that, but it will deal 75% more damage. If the attack defeats the enemy, you gain 20% turn meter and foresight for 2 turns. Again, he didn't defeat the enemy, so this GIF doesn't really show what he's capable of, but had he had advantage, which he gives himself advantage on his basic, he would have done 75% more damage. 75% more than that would have put it at about 80,000. That's actually impressive damage. I think his first special will be impressive. You just got to make sure he has that advantage. You got to use his special first and then use his second ability. Looks like at the timer it's at 20 seconds shy. This is the first time he actually used an ability. Because no other abilities on cooldown. So yeah, it looks like they just didn't use his basic first, which would have showcased the special a whole lot better.
Or they did that specifically just to create intrigue about the ship. You want this guy. We tell you what he can do, but we're not going to show you right away until you get it.
They wanted me to catch this and call him out on it. No, I'm just kidding. But no, it's cool. And if it defeats the enemy, and of course you're going to want to target someone who's about to die, into their health and stuff, you're going to do that overpowering damage. It's going to kill them. You're going to get 20% turn meter. Foresight for 2 turns makes it you faster and harder to hit. That's really, 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 really cool. And then in this last ability, the first unique, which is the crew ability. This is what Kylo Ren's bringing to the ship. It's the one that will be on the top left when you're looking at the ship. It's going to be the unique one. It's called Frenzied Rage. Ooh. Again, very good description, Frenzied Rage. And the final text for that ability, the third ability, which is kind of cool looking, it says each time the TIE silencer is damaged, or damages a target locked enemy, it gains +10 speed and +10 offense, stacking until the encounter. What?
Amazing.
What? This is going to be the absolute unequivocal #1 best attacking ship in the game. Hands down, biggest threat.
They just cleared the board again.
Freaking A, dude. What? No, like, are you kidding me? It's not just speed. He gets +10 speed, 10 speed, 10 speed, 20 speed, 30 speed, 40 speed, 50 speed, and 10% offense, 20% offense, 30, 40, 50. I mean,
you just keep on stacking up on him.
Yeah,
It's like
and of
one
course,
after the other. He's taking those buff steroids.
Of course, in a battle in arena, it may not stack as high as speed and as high as offense as I'm playing out here, but in a territory battle where you get to actually use the ship, or in some other PvE, this is amazing. And in arena, don't get me wrong, like, that's amazing. And what's really, really cool is this is a unique. It just, you don't have to do anything for this. It's just going to be there in the background, hanging out, making him better every single round.
Just naturally awesome like that.
So if he is damaged or damages a target lock, so you're running him in a target lock team, everyone's target locked, he's damaging target lock every time he shoots, and he's going to be hit and he's going to be taking damage because people are going to see him as a threat. So they're going to try and take him out. You're going to have to protect him with a tank that taunts. So, I think Biggs is going to become...
Old Biggs come to play again.
Yeah, he's going to become even more apparently necessary to make sure you can keep him alive long enough for him to do this crazy damage that he's going to be able to do. So, really exciting. What are your initial impressions of the characters?
I think that they did a good job with trying to bring a little bit more to the dark side, like you said, because it seems like you got a little bit of a imbalance going on there. So I think they tried to level the playing field a little bit, but with a couple of his specific abilities, especially in Kylo and his ship, I think they did just kind of wipe the board clean again. I think with like Mother Talzin, they kind of did that. Yet again, another big character is capable of doing a lot of things that we were looking for in other teams, and they're just kind of slowly going in and filling in some gaps that we've been looking for.
Yeah, so as far as First Order and Darkseid, I think the characters are absolutely necessary. I think First Order becomes viable now in Arena, and I think it's a great step towards, with all the health and protection regeneration and things like that, for a Darkseid territory battles. Personally, because I love ships, I think these two ships are amazing. They definitely can make a team awesome. Now, both of them... one of them doesn't apply target lock, and that's Kylo's ship. So when you take him out, you're taking out a spot of a character who could be applying target lock, which then makes it less likely that he's going to hit a target lock character. So you got to keep that in mind. You can't overwhelm your team with all these a bunch of just amazing new characters or ships, because you might actually end up offsetting the balance of necessary ships that do target lock. What's cool though is you might be able to take someone like Darth Vader out now, because he may become less important, because the First Order will have synergy with themselves, and now there's 3 First Order ships in the game. So I don't know. I'm excited to see all of the different compositions and all the different playouts. In this last ability, the overwhelming advantage, when he hits, it's 47,000, and it's the first 20 seconds of the fight. So obviously there was no stacking of offense, there was no stacking of speed, and it still did almost 50K.
Out the gate.
Yeah. So, I mean, think about that. Going into it, by the time you're at 5 minutes or 4.5 minutes, I mean, he's going to have 30, potentially 40, you know, stacked of speed and of the offense. So pretty exciting. So from free to play overall, pretty cool characters, you think?
Yes, especially if they get to the point where they're going to be farmable and not going to be overdone with the gear, because that's always a big issue for free to play, having all those energy refreshes that you need to go through on a daily basis if you're only spending 100, 150 crystals here and there for that a day.
Awesome. So 2 ships, 2 characters, all 4 amazing. Definitely solid adds.
Yes.
And First Order...
I can applaud them on this one at this point, as opposed to what's with, you know, Night Sister Spirit? What's with Night Sister Zombie? Okay, fine, just filler characters again. This is actually something like, okay, cool. Characters and ships that I can be excited about. Yeah,
now in theory will take, you know, 3 months to go free to play. What are you going to do from now until you're able to farm them?
I guess just continue my daily grind, go with the characters that I already have, and then just hope that I can have enough wherewithal that when they do become available, I can start focusing on that too. Because again, they keep on bringing on so much new stuff for a guy like me who can't just run through and gear these guys up so quickly. I get a little bit spread too thin, and I just keep on having to try and bring myself back to that hyper focus on a few main characters that are going to be beneficial in certain areas that I really want to work towards, and then hopefully have enough brain power left over to bring these guys in too.
Yep. So anyway, I think they're going to be arena viable pretty good. I'm excited to be able to gear them up, level them up, and try to use them and show some videos of what they're capable of in arena against CLS. I think everybody wants an alternative. I don't hope it dethrones CLS completely. I think that you want CLS to be something people want to strive for, and I want it to be a viable alternative.
Because I still want to get him someday. I don't want him to be a worthless character by the time he comes around for me and is actually viable.
Right. What I don't want is power creep. I don't want this to be so powerful that it eliminates everything that came before it. What I want it to do is bring some balance to the Force, so that way you can use CLS or Kylo Ren as a leader, and they're equally as good. And that way we get to some diversity. Plus, it's setting us up for success for the territory battles to come. So just one last thing. I appreciate everybody coming, checking out this channel. Remember that everything you've seen can be and could be subject to change. This is all the kits and stuff as they gave it to us, so keep that in mind. Anything could change before it goes post live, so make sure you remember that
before it becomes specific.
Yeah, because you know, this is the stuff they give us. It's as best as possible. This was all because I'm a game changer. They provided this info. I appreciate EA for giving me the opportunity to do this video and show you guys all of this stuff. And then the last thing is, if you guys like my roster reviews, like I mentioned at the beginning, make sure you go down to the description and click on my new channel, so that way you can get notifications for my new roster reviews, which are going to launch in approximately 2 weeks. If you don't, you'll no longer be getting my roster reviews. For the next 2 weeks, though, I have 6 more rosters that are going to be launched on my main channel because they've been uploaded on there for a while. And some of you know how to access those videos, even though they're unlisted. If you know that secret, don't tell anybody. No, just kidding. As always, I appreciate you guys coming and visiting. Sure Shot, thank you for visiting. I appreciate always having...
Thank you for having me.
Oh, of course. I appreciate always having the perspective of a free-to-play gamer, and how all of that works out. What do you say? What's your inline tag? I got to hear it, Sure Shot.
My inline tag?
Yeah.
You know, I guess I'd have to probably think of one and create one. So, on the spot.
On the spot.
Sure Shot out.
Yeah, Sure Shot out. As always, keep your gaming on. Warrior out.